Hello, my name is Michael O'Keefe, aka The Movie List. If you enjoy this interview and want to hear more top-notch film industry conversations, please press the thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and hit the bell to stay in the know. Good Star Wars characters may lead horrible lives, but to be the focus of a movie for me, you need characters who will come back and tell that particular tale, which is why I can't stand Rogue One. Rogue One is a movie about losers because they all die in the end, and I cannot help but wonder why, as a viewer, I am supposed to care about these people or deeper lore about the Death Star. This one drives me nuts. The action is not remarkably interesting to me, the planets are the worst, the characters are the worst, and it does not justify telling the story of getting the strategy to the rebels. This one always bothered me the most because of these issues mentioned. It has a lot of cool actors in it, but the script and visuals did not draw me in whatsoever, leaving me cold by the end credits. The amount of course correction seen in the sequel trilogy reaches its awful culmination in the Rise of Skywalker, a movie that is wretchedly annoying and gutless in concluding this incoherent trilogy. Rey should have remained the daughter of drunken nobodies, not a Palpatine. J.J. Abrams should have stuck with this idea even if he did not like it, and creatively finished the story instead of not wanting The Last Jedi to be what it is. In the Darth Plagueis novel, it is said that Force lightning is carried down from Sith to Sith, and that you can only use this power if it has been used on you, which is poetic to me because it is the abused becoming the abuser. In this movie, Rey uses it on a spaceship, and that sums up this trilogy to me. Rey is flawless, and Kylo Ren is interesting, but I had to die anyway. This was such a weak start to Disney Star Wars, but here we are. Attack of the Clones to me is the bottom of the barrel for the prequel trilogy, because of the courtship between Anakin and Padme is so nauseating to watch, from the Coruscant to every time they look at each other. Count Dooku is an interesting character, but it might have been better to keep Darth Maul present instead of jumping from Sith to Sith, sort of trivializing them to an extent, despite Christopher Lee's legendary status. The Battle of Geonosis is not my idea of great Star Wars. I just like seeing the screen littered with lightsabers, and even Yoda taking one out seems funny, but also weird and a distraction. I argue that the prequel trilogy is better than the sequel trilogy because at least it is unified by George Lucas's voice, but I still strongly dislike this one so much that I put it near the bottom of any Star Wars movie ever. The Last Jedi is a course correction for The Force Awakens, which I have grown distant from because it is, in my view, that Rian Johnson was the wrong pick to direct a Star Wars project. His view that audience alienation stimulating discussion is fascinating, yet it is inappropriate for Star Wars because that is put above the way the Jedi are, which is the hope that inspires that galaxy. Snoke has a lot of great lines in this movie, but his death is untimely because we never properly learn who he is. So once he dies, my reaction is essentially that some random Sith Lord is now dead. The central concept of dramatizing Luke Skywalker cutting himself off of the galaxy is not offensive to me. It is interesting, but I still believe it would be better suited in an original concept because that is not true to Luke's character. Han Solo is less integral to Star Wars than Luke Skywalker, so butchering his story is less of a problem than The Last Jedi, and I say that mainly because Alden is no Harrison Ford. It is weird that this movie exists, however I enjoyed Donald Glover as the now pansexual Lando Calrissian, despite his droid facing the cruel fate of living on forever in the Millennium Falcon. The Kessel Run should never have been filled because I like the idea of it as folklore, meaning it could have just been a story that was a bluff and never actually happened. It's just got people to look at Han differently. Despite my criticisms with this project, I believe it is still an entertaining ride, and Kira, played by Emilia Clarke, is a very cool character, a gangster and a survivor, who I hope returns in new projects. The Force Awakens was fun to watch the first time, then never really lives up to that first sense of enjoyment once you realize it is such a fawning, unwanted wet kiss of A New Hope. The script has fun one-liners and terse dialogue versus the ramblings of boring Republic politics heard in the prequels, but its lack of originality defies me as an integral part of Star Wars tradition. Kylo Ren is an incredible character, the most nuanced Sith we have ever seen on screen, but while he is a wonderful, petulant, but conflicted Dark Prince, Rey, Finn, and Poe are trash characters. Poe's character is simply, he is a great pilot, Finn is underused in this film as well as in episodes 8 and 9, and Rey is not an interesting character because she is simply flawless and not layered whatsoever. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, was quite a hyped up movie back in 1999, and I remember very vividly being thrilled by simply seeing a still image of Darth Maul in a magazine. While the cutting between young Anakin, Queen Amidala, the Gungans, and the lightsaber fight remains to be an excruciating example of action cinema, but despite all that, this one has some very cool lore. Darth Maul would return in the animated series The Clone Wars, as well as Star Wars Rebels, and then the Solo movie. But one must remember his appearance is significant in the lore, since a Jedi had not seen a Sith in 1,000 years despite them lurking around all along. Also, Qui-Gon Jinn is an interesting true Jedi in my view, who, despite the wishes of the Council, kicks off our cinematic Star Wars world by following the path of the Force, through training the Chosen One, Anakin Skywalker. Return of the Jedi starts off as an excellent movie, and even ends as one, but the whole Ewok thing, as well as some tone issues of being perhaps a little too lighthearted, really hurts this movie. It simply does not stand up to A New Hope or The Empire Strikes Back. Even though I love the Jabba the Hutt opening, expanding the intergalactic gangster element, as well as the return of Anakin Skywalker. I also love the scenes when the Emperor is being the original troll with lines like, "Oh, I'm afraid the deflector shield will be fully operational." But the unevenness of this movie crushes me now as a viewer. It is still peak Star Wars, but makes you wish they could have removed the goofy Ewoks, and even that scene where the rebels are preparing to take on the second Death Star. It kind of irks me a bit. And like that end credit music as well. While the prequel films remain disappointing to me, Revenge of the Sith is just so Star Wars because of the end of the prominence of the Jedi Order through Order 66 and Anakin's death at the hands of Darth Vader from a certain point of view. The battle on Mustafar and Darth Sidious's seductive offer makes this film captivating, even though it hops around from battle to battle too much for my liking and is a bit of a CGI headache. It is the strongest with the lore elements of any Star Wars, and I am of the belief that Darth Vader is still bringing balance to the Force by wiping out the arrogant and corrupt Jedi, even while serving Darth Sidious. To see Anakin turn to the dark side just blows my mind a bit, and on repeated viewings, I've come to appreciate George's vision for this one, and hating Christensen's performance in this still mostly dumb movie. A New Hope could have easily been a standalone movie, and the franchise could have never been, because this one is so self-contained that it is a relief compared to many of the other movies. A weak Star Wars movie is only lore fodder, when a good Star Wars movie needs no explanation for your companion watching it alongside you, and this is how it was constructed. It's like a universal foreign film. When you go to the Mos Eisley Cantina, no alien races dissected or explained. It is all just hanging out there, like when George Lucas got exposed to Japan through the cinema of Akira Kurosawa. While the leads are all great in this, I believe that Alec Guinness is the standout as Obi-Wan Kenobi, the crazy old mystic, who kicks off the adventure of this trilogy only to become one with the Force in front of his old Padawan, Anakin Skywalker. My favorite Star Wars movie of all time must be The Empire Strikes Back, because of the ratcheting up of the stakes, the Han/Leia romance, Yoda, and of course the big reveal that Darth Vader is Luke's father. It is a dark story done properly for Star Wars, which means that bad things happen, and we are left as first-time viewers wanting for there to be resolution, but it is not filled with fatalism or a sense of hopelessness despite the bad guys winning. Yoda messing with Luke to then reveal himself is a classic scene. I love the planets they jump around from. It goes from cold to damp to up in the skies, as well as an asteroid field. It is hard to overstate the emotional feeling from this experience, and if you are like me, you have seen this 1,000,000 times, yet it still manages to be the most magical experience in the galaxy far, far away.